Hi, name's Steve Dudash, president of IHT Wealth Management. A group of us left a major warehouse in downtown Chicago the summer of 2014, and since then we've been asked a lot of the same questions over and over again. So we thought we'd put a video together and kind of walk through some of the stages that we were thinking in our process, and maybe it'll help some of the people out there that are going through similar things. The first and foremost, we weren't looking to leave. We were happy where we were at. We were successful advisors. We were over $5 million in production between the group of us who walked out the door. But we were getting a little frustrated. We were a little frustrated at the firm we were at with management who had no experience being advisors, or worse yet, were failed advisors, were telling us how to run our practice. We were frustrated that, every year a comp plan would come out and we'd have to look for the fine print, and we would have to try to figure out, what hoops we had to jump through and the energy we had to put towards those hoops in order to get paid out our long-term bonuses. And we were getting frustrated with the oversight and the apologetic approach we had to take to our firm's name. We were no longer in a firm that was promoting our business. Instead, it was actually in a lot of ways hindering our business. So we started looking at other firms, and we were looking at different options, independent spaces, regionals, other wirehouses. And as a group, we got offers from just about every major firm. But at the end of the day, we came to the realization that our industry has become so commoditized that we didn't need the big wirehouse name anymore. None of us were selling our firm's name to grow our practice. So why were we paying that premium for our firm's name when we weren't getting anything out of it? Part two of it, and it was part of the concern when we were looking at different firms, is, could we get the same level of products and technology and service through them? And that's where it comes back to the commoditization. 15 years ago, if you were at a major wirehouse, there was some exclusivity there. You could say to your clients, this is something that you can get nowhere else. So if we can get the same technology, same service, and we don't have the name isn't as needed, then why are we staying where we're at? Well, the biggest fear that everyone has is my clients aren't going to leave with me. Everyone who makes through the transition, I promise you, has that thought at some point in time. No matter what firm you go to, if you go in the independent space, you need 60% of your book to walk out the door. This is the same thing I tell every single advisor that I talk to. If 60% of your clients will walk out the door, then we should continue these conversations and keep going. If they won't, then you should stop. It's not worth it anymore. But if you can get 60% of your book, that's roughly your break-even point, and that means you can make at least the same income and not have to deal with the other 90% of garbage that's associated with the big firms that you're at. So if you can get more than 60%, which was what most advisors come through and do, and 80% being the industry average, then you're getting a pay raise. But we didn't want to deal with anyone or have anyone go through this process unless they can at least get to break even. The other part of this is we wanted to position ourselves to take advantage of the retiring books of business that are going out there. There's a huge wave of baby boomers that are retiring in the next 5-10 years. And we wanted to be able to take the biggest chunk of that market share as possible. If you're at a wirehouse, maybe you get partnered up with one retiring advisor, possibly. Maybe he retires in 4 or 5 years, and then you pay him out for another 4 years after that. So 8 or 9 years later, you might get the benefits of this. And the independent space, it's free market. First of all, the retiring advisors get paid out the full value of what they deserve on that book of business. But two, we can compete for every retiring book that's out there. Typically, when a one-man shop retires to another one-man shop, the risk runs that some of those clients will inevitably not like the new advisor and will leave. And therefore, the retiring advisor won't get paid out on the full chunk of their book of business. Here, we solve that problem by we have, let's just say in this office, 20 advisors. Well, if some of your book doesn't like me, maybe they like Frank or Jill or Bob or whoever else, sooner or later, most of those clients are going to find someone in that office that they naturally click with, and therefore we're going to retain more of that book of business. That pays the retiring advisor more money. The second part is banks love us. Compared to a one-man shop, if that guy passes away, the bank's in trouble. Here we have 20 advisors. If one of the advisors passes away, we still have 19 other advisors to continue to manage those books of business and therefore still be able to pay back that loan, which is what the bank cares about. So we can pay a better premium because the banks like us better. We can pay the retiring advisor more money because more of the clients will stay, and therefore we can outcompete anyone on the free market value for these retiring books. That is the position that we wanted to get ourselves into moving forward in the independent space once we made that decision. I'll tell you, it's not an easy decision to make. You know what I mean? It's very easy to stay at a wirehouse because you're probably making a good living. You live a very comfortable life. You have a team probably around you, and you don't have to do a lot of work. And you're like, oh, why am I going to walk away from this very nice, easy setup? I'm telling you from a guy who was in that situation, there hasn't been 1 second of one day that I regret making that move. I wish someone would have kicked me out the door sooner. I wish someone would have pushed me and said, what are you doing giving away all of this revenue and being miserable at a firm because of all the things that are associated with that major firm? There is more to life in the advisor world than what you think. I know you're sold on that the firm that you're at is the greatest place in the world. I was there. I went through it. They teach you that nothing else will exist as well as that place. I promise you that's not the case, and they don't want you to know the difference. So me personally, I'm telling advisors out there, look at your options, take your time. There's no reason to rush into this. Walk through it, look at the different types of firms. Don't get hung up in the details, but look at the big picture, and then start looking what firm makes sense. What we built here at IHT, none of my advisors worry about what rent costs. None of the advisors here worry about technology or regulatory problems or websites or any of the things that we didn't understand or know when we were at a wirehouse. They still work the exact same way. They come in, they have high-end technology, they have high-end look and feel of their place. Their clients are blown away about how nice it looks, and they can continue doing what they're very good at, and that is being advisors, and not have to worry about all the other parts of the business. We wanted to make this place an easy transition, an easy landing spot for any retiring advisor and any successful advisor who wants to continue in their business moving forward and not have to deal with the nonsense associated with the big corporations. So if this is something you'd like to know more about, if this is something that interests you, and if you just want to ask questions of someone who's gone through it with every major firm out there, call us anytime, and I promise we'll give you a straight answer approach on it, no matter what you ask. Thank you.